I'm meteorologist Melissa Noor with your weather impact forecast, tracking a pattern change as we kick off January. Colder air returning to North Georgia. As we see these rounds of Arctic reinforcing cold air, we'll have to watch any systems in our future that could have moisture with them. So that's how we forecast winter weather. We first look at pattern recognition. Are we going to see a favorable pattern for wintry weather? That means we've got to have the cold air in place before the moisture moves in North Georgia, and it depends on where these systems are originating from. So that's in the 7 to 10 days out period. We get into 5 to 7 days out, we trend up and down with the models in terms of if that pattern looks more favorable or if it looks less favorable, and then the closer and closer we get to an event, we can narrow down what type of winter weather we would see and amounts of any wintry weather and what the impacts would be. Now let's look ahead, because system number 1 we'll be tracking here over the next 10 days arrives Sunday into Monday. The track of the low as of January 1st in all the models is looking to cut across the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. With that type of track, the really messy wintry weather, where we get a wintry mix with freezing rain and snow, that would stay north of Georgia altogether. That's in this pink zone right here. Up further to the north, up through the Corn Belt over to the Ohio Valley, that would be all snow. But here to the south across Georgia, we would see temperatures warming up enough as that moisture moves in to where we would avoid any really prolonged period of wintry weather. The only areas we would watch would be mainly the high elevations of the North Georgia mountains. That's where the low looks right now. Now, a couple days ago, the track of that low in the models was a little bit further south. We're still a few days out from this. It's Wednesday. We're talking about Sunday into Monday. So if that track of the low ends up shifting a little further south, closer to the state line, then that would mean we would have enough cold air in place for at least some mixing up in far north and northeast Georgia for the time frame of Sunday and Monday. So again, as of right now, the track of the low looks to be the further north track, and that would mean that we would not be seeing wintry weather for the Atlanta area or any part of North Georgia, except for the very highest elevations of the North Georgia mountains. And these models, this is kind of a snapshot in the future of Sunday night, early Monday morning, shows you just that. Both the American and the European have been trending today on the warmer side of things, where the track of the low is to our north of Nashville, and that would mean it would just be a rain scenario. Here's how the timing of that looks. Sunday morning would likely start mostly dry, the cold air being scoured out as that moisture works in. You can see here Sunday evening, the low itself somewhere over middle Tennessee, but on the south side we would have a southwest wind, and that would enhance the temperatures, warm them up as we head throughout the day on Sunday. So even though Sunday morning might start off in the 30s, by the time that rain and moisture would move in, we would be well above the freezing mark, limiting anything being frozen precipitation in parts of North Georgia. On the back side of that system, Monday morning, there might be a little bit of wraparound moisture. The air is plummeting, the temperatures rather. That might be another scenario where we could see a few flakes up in the North Georgia mountains. Every model runs a little bit different. Some have more snow showers for the higher elevations, some have barely anything, but that's something we'll also watch on the back side of these things. But usually when we talk about accumulating snow, it happens when we have the cold air in place before the moisture moves in. We got to have that cold air in place, otherwise it's just we're kind of playing catch and chase with trying to catch up the moisture to the cold. All right, big picture though. The pattern change. It started to arrive, and it really builds in here over the next week. So we have a couple of different spells of Arctic air that'll be spilling down from Canada. Specifically though, next week looks like a period of prolonged cold, big dip in the jet stream. In weather model data, we talk about some of the teleconnection patterns, and one of those is the Arctic oscillation. It's turning negative. Okay, a lot of these are turning to the phase that's going to mean cold air can spill in. The jet stream is weakened a little bit and allows for that really cold Arctic air that's bottled up in the Arctic Circle to spill down. That's what we're looking at. This graphic shows you it is highly likely that we're going to have below average temperatures as we get into next week. Just how cold are we talking about? This is a snapshot in the future. It's not exact how these numbers will end up, but you can kind of see we have the first dip of cold coming in for the start of the weekend. The temperatures warm back up a little bit as that rain moves in. But then after that weather system for Sunday and Monday, that's when a prolonged period of cold moves into North Georgia. Highs throughout next week will likely struggle to get above 40 degrees. This will mean the overnight lows in the city will be down probably mid-20s. But again, outside the city, those numbers can be a lot colder. So that is what we're looking towards, tracking this change in the weather pattern. This is for starting this weekend through the following weekend of January. Looks like the middle part of January, first to second week, looks very cold here in North Georgia.